Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Hey Fro Sells. My name is Jeff, and today we're going to take a look at what sold since my last video. And normally when I do these what sold videos, I kind of, every sale has a story. And every story, or at least most of the time within stories, there's things that you can learn, whether it's something that you didn't know had value, whether it's maybe a negotiation trick. Yeah, so let's get started. And the hat is because my hair is so long and it's so messy that I'm probably just going to wear hats until I finally get myself over to my hairdresser and have her cut my hair. So, if I didn't say already, my name is Jeff and I'm a full-time reseller. And yeah, let's get right into it. This just sold. Oh, and this is take two, by the way. My phone just ran out of room earlier. I was about 10 minutes into the video. I did it early this morning, early for me. And then I was like so deflated. I was like, okay, fine. Let's just take a break, get back to listing. Anyhow, so this lot just sold. A lot of VHS that Lawnmower Man, they're all Stephen King's. I've had these for a long time. Pet Cemetery, Silver Bullet, Christine, Dead Zone. I've probably had these in my store for like over 2 years. Probably a bad buy on my part, maybe even longer. Like, really, these have been around forever, and it's so funny. I'm gonna talk to you about a phenomenon that happens to me all the time, like all the time. And I don't know what you want to call it, law of attraction. I don't know if you what you want to call it, but how many times have you been looking at something? Let's say you're in your inventory area, and you notice an item that you think to yourself, man, that's been around a while, or I've not had any interest in this. And the next thing you know, within one day, you get an offer on it, or it's sold. I cannot tell you how many times this happens to me. It is the weirdest thing. This happened to me with these VHS. I looked at them literally yesterday, and I thought to myself, are these ever going to sell? Boom, today. Somebody adds it to their watch list. I send them an offer. They send me a counter. It was a reasonable counter. It's 55. It was about 65 all in, including the shipping. I'm probably all in for, it's been a long time. I'm thinking like 15, 20 bucks maybe. And I feel that that's probably not even the greatest flip, but I was thankful to just get rid of them. So sale number one. And another comment that I wanted to make. This hat, it's an Amazon delivery driver hat. I don't know if you know this. Now, I bought this to resell, and I know that you can't sell stuff like this on eBay. It's a really weird and obscure role. I had an UPS hat listed about a year ago. I had this awesome toque winter hat that had a beanie on top, and I found this really cool, like, I don't remember if it was a trucker hat or just a baseball hat. I did a little research on it. It was like something that you drivers could only buy at, like, I don't know. I can't remember it, but both of these hats are awesome, but they were taken down. And I contacted eBay. I'm like, well, why was it taken down? It's just a hat. And then they told me that anything that is like USPS, any courier service, you can't sell these things. People buy them to impersonate delivery drivers so they can steal merchandise. Now, I mean, come on, man. This is such like a, I don't know, like the world that we live in, that you can't sell a UPS hat or a FedEx hat. I mean, they're just hats, really. Like, I feel like we're in such this like controlled state that we can only do so many. There's so many things that we can't do that are just so innocuously harmless. It's frustrating. But if anybody knows what platforms out there we can sell these kinds of things on, not that I have a lot. I generally just try to sell them locally. You know, because I only sell on mostly eBay, but I also do local sales as well on Marketplace and Craigslist. So here's a hat that did sell. I guess nobody's out there buying Volkswagen hats trying to impersonate Volkswagen drivers. It sold for $20. I think, let's see. I think I just got an offer on this. I don't think I sent an offer. It's a really nice, well-made hat. I have thought about keeping this for myself just because it's quite nice, but I rarely keep anything, to be honest with you. Like, the things that I keep for myself that I like, normally, like, if that was damaged in some way, I would probably keep it for myself. If I have a chance to resell it, I'm reselling it. Comics sold, I want to say like $7 or $8. This is actually a consignment order that I did. I do for a friend of mine. He gives me books. I take 50% commission after eBay fees. And, you know, some of them are lower dollar stuff, and sometimes it only really kind of works out in my favor if someone buys one thing and then adds a bunch more. So, you know, a couple dollars profit on that. Not a big deal. But yeah, you know, I do get some of my merchandise that way. And I'll always mention when it's a consignment. It's a very small part of my store, but yeah. Bee and Puppy Cat. This sold for $18. And if you're unfamiliar with this, this is a cute little kind of like story, or well, not cute. I think it first came out as a comic, and then Netflix did a show on it, and it's got quite a bit of a cult following. And some of these earlier comics from this are really hard to find in high grade. I doubt too many people watching has probably even heard of this. But yeah, Natasha Allegri, she's from the Pacific Northwest. I've had the opportunity to meet her and have her sign some stuff once in a while. But the last time I saw her, it was like pre-COVID at a Comic-Con. But yeah, like there's some really awesome covers to this story, or to this comic. And I bought a collection from somebody local maybe 6 months ago. And it wasn't that great of a collection, but it had a nice little run of those books in there. And I still got quite a few left. And like I said, some of the earlier variant covers to these bring in really big money. Street Fighter Summer Sports. This sold for $29. The reason this sold for so expensive is because it's very, very high grade. I graded this as a 9.6, which is pretty high. Like 9.8 is pretty much the highest you can get. I had a local sale today. Sort of coffee, a Keurig coffee pot for $25. It was an old model. It was just taking up space. I had it listed on Marketplace for like $40. Somebody came in and made me an offer for $25. And I was like, you know what? This is my wife got this for free at her old workplace. They were moving offices or something, and they were just kind of giving away a bunch of stuff. She took that. We were gonna maybe use it, but to be honest with you, I like brewing my own coffee. I don't really like using Keurigs. And I just threw it up. It's been listed for a while. Guy made me an offer for $25, and then like a week goes by, and he's like, you know, I messaged him. I'm like, are you still interested in this? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I just haven't been in your area. So then he messages me today, and he's like, hey, he's like, there's the exact same model that you're selling for $20. Can you do that? In my mind, I'm thinking, all right, we already agreed on $25. So this is annoying. So I go and I look at the listing, and if you're ever in this situation, like this is something that you can kind of like throw the ball back in his court. So I looked at the listing. It looked like it was not in the condition that mine was in. And it was in an area that's quite far from here. So I responded. I'm like, hey, if you want to drive to where the place where it's at and pick it up. And I knew there's no way, because traffic, gas is expensive. I'm like, you can do that. I go, but I've already come down in price, and if you want it for 25, you can have it. And yeah, we met up about an hour ago, and he picked it up. So that's one way that you can kind of deal with counter offers or counter offers. And some people, they don't like that whole art of negotiation and kind of the offers and countering and this and that. But you know what, I used to be in that boat, but now I love that whole negotiation of the whole negotiation process. I enjoy that. So yeah, so I had an international sale today. I was gonna cancel it. I was gonna do it yesterday, but then I didn't get around to do it. So I was like, oh, I'll cancel it today. So I'll hold on a little bit longer. This sold for $20. This is a Inquest magazine. This is from like the 90s. They did, in the 90s, there was a lot of polybag stuff, and there was like cards and stuff like that they, yeah. Anyhow, I bought a bunch of these at my local comic book store, maybe about a year ago. I like stuff like this. It's very nostalgic for me. And, it's not that they have like a huge amount of value. You've got to find that right buyer. And somebody from Belgium was that right buyer. And, the thing I love about international buyers, from my experience, maybe this is different from you, they don't often negotiate in price. Oftentimes they just buy it. And I don't have a lot of non-pays with them either. So I had a comic sale on Hip. This is just a print. This sold for $20. You can see why. Jim Ballant is the guy who drew this, and he has a comic called Tara, Witch of the Black Rose. It's kind of like it had a cult following as well. But there's a lot of sexually suggestive stuff in that particular comic. Sold a watch that was my wife's from a long time ago. It's got some damage to it, and yeah, this sold for $20. And it's just collecting dust. So I figured I'd list it and take an offer on that. This just sold for $13. Button, Turn on the Suburbs. It's a vintage pin. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what Turn on the Suburbs means, but more buttons. This is a button lot. A friend with weed is a friend indeed. Nirvana needed, and a peace sign with marijuana on there. These sold for a surprisingly $32. I'll take it. And let's see here. What else do we got here? Oh yeah. There's 6 cassettes in here. This is the Earl Nightingale Toastmasters International program. It's like an educational program. This sold for $40. I had it listed quite a bit higher, but right before my con yesterday, I got this offer, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it. Like, sometimes when I know I'm gonna be spending money at a con, it feels good to kind of get some more flow coming back in. So I was all in that for $3. Oh, speaking of the con, this was pretty cool. This is probably my favorite buy of yesterday. This Prince comic. I'm gonna go ahead and press this out. It's in really nice shape, and it's just, I was late in the fandom of Prince. My wife got me interested and appreciative of him, and I gotta say, it wasn't until after he passed that I really understood the genius of him. And it wasn't until I started learning how to play guitar, which I started a couple years ago, just kind of like my daughter got me a guitar on my birthday, and I just started like dabbling around, took an online course, still taking the online course, but I'm also on a break from it because I've got some tendonitis or tennis elbow or something that's really prevents me. I've taken like a couple months off trying to let this heal up. It's really frustrating, to be honest with you, because I learned very late in my life that I'm very passionate about playing guitar. I just wish I would have done it 30 years ago. It's kind of frustrating when you start something so late in life and you're like, oh, I could have been doing this. Like, if I could have only started this when I was in my teens, like, where would I be now? And I was starting to get, I was starting to feel like I was making some strides. I think we are always our own toughest critic, but like it felt like things were starting to come along, and then you get injured, or you have this injury due to this repetitive motion, and it's so frustrating. Anyhow, I'm hoping soon I can get back, and I know that I forgot a lot of stuff, but it'll come back to me. The last thing that I have here, this hasn't sold yet. The person contacted me on Marketplace, and he wants to buy this tomorrow. It's a Spider Gwen wallet, brand new, and they've agreed to buy this for $35. I got to meet them kind of halfway to where they're at, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to do that tomorrow. I've got to do a few other things with my wife, so it might not go through until maybe Wednesday or Thursday, but I had this listed on eBay. So what I do, and this is how I kind of handle the local sales when I have it listed in multiple places, is what's cool is I had this listed for $25 on eBay, so it's actually going to sell for more locally, and normally it's the other way around, but I just had a hunch that this might sell locally, especially this character is in the new Spider-Man movie, and she's really starting to gain some popularity. And so what I do is I take that listing down off of eBay, and then it goes in your unsolds. Now I keep my unsolds always completely empty. The way I sort it, I can't remember how I sort it, but because when I delete and sell similar, I just like to keep that folder completely clean. So what I do is when I delete it off, when I end the listing, it goes into the unsolds, and then I immediately click sell similar, so it creates a draft, and then I delete it out of my unsolds. So if this person jams on me or cancels or changes their mind, I can just easily sell similar, I can easily go to that draft and then relist that item. So that's kind of how I do it. But anytime I'm keeping money out of eBay's pockets, brings me a little bit of joy, because they just enjoy so much taking money out of mine. But yeah, some nice sales. This was actually a really, really nice week on my wife's store. Probably the best week that I've had in man, I can't even remember. Quite a long time. So now I just need to get my store performing a little bit better, but it'll come, it'll happen. You just keep listing, and everything will take care of itself. And so with that, I'm gonna end this video, and I look forward to any suggestions on where we can sell hats, like deliver like FedEx or UPS hats or postal worker hats or book merch, because there is a market for that stuff as well. And yeah, so anyhow, take care guys, and we'll talk to you soon.